get ready with me while I tell you guys how I ran away from my forced marriage. Okay, before we get into the juicy stuff, I'm gonna tell you guys a bit about the background and a little bit on forced marriages and stuff. I have to get ready while I do this. Okay, so forced marriage and arranged marriages are two different things. Don't get them mixed up. And this is about a forced marriage, not an arranged. So this is where nobody had agreed, I had not agreed, and it was happening. Basically, like arranged marriage is when people agreed to it. This was not agreed upon. Okay, and then a little bit more background on me at the time. This was 3 years ago. I don't know if I mentioned that. Basically, I grew up in a very toxic and abusive home, and everything was horrible at the time. I had severe depression, and I was also in college. Basically, I was doing a PLC at the time, and I was 17. So it was December 2021, and I tried to myself. And after this, my parents were basically fed up of my mental health, and they just honestly wanted to get rid of me. Like, it seemed like they did not want me around. I was a problem to them. I was a burden because of my mental health issues that they kind of caused themselves. So December 31st of that year, I tried to myself, and then I was in hospital for 2 weeks. And after I came out of the hospital, I was not allowed to leave my house. I was literally not allowed to go to uni, couldn't step outside. Like, my dad had already decided that I was going to Bangladesh, and honestly, I had no like other option at the time. Like, it was either that or just stay locked at home. So I obviously took the option to go to Bangladesh because at the time his reasoning for me going to Bangladesh was that it would fix my mental health, and I would go there for like, they didn't really give me a time. It was more that I was just gonna go and it's gonna fix my mental health. And yeah, that was my only option at the time, so I took it. So January 2022 is when the flight was, and it was me and my sister going. My parents and the rest of my family were staying back. They were due to come later that year in summer after my birthday, but that's relevant later on. So we went, and for the first like 2-3 weeks, it was all nice. It was amazing, and my passport was locked up. This wasn't like a big deal to me till later on, because I thought it was just like for safety reasons, you know, like it wasn't a big deal. And it came to a point where no one was really talking to me anymore. I was kind of isolated, and I kind of spent all my time there by myself. I was there for a total of 6 months from January till June, and honestly, the only person that I really spoke to over there was my pet duck. His name was Tokyo. I left him behind. So about 3 months in, I found out from one of the neighbors in the village. We were in the kind of like a village in the middle of nowhere. Like, you know, Bangladesh, it's like city and then the villages on the outskirts. So we were in a village with my granny and granddad, and found out 3 months in from one of the neighbors that like my neighbor was like coming up to me, and she was like, you know about your wedding? Like, I was like, what are you talking about? And she's talking about my wedding and how it's gonna happen after my parents and family got there in June, and they were already looking for guys or something, and apparently there had already been guys and their families coming over to the village to see me, and I just never noticed. I thought they were just like my granny's friends or whatever, and turns out they weren't. So I was like, what the heck? Like, what do you mean? So that was crazy to me, and I was like, I don't believe it. And at this point in time, my parents weren't really talking to me. We had several fights, and one of like there are other stories to my life that involve those fights. It was about things that my mom did not know about, and she blamed it on me, so I wasn't talking to her. And then stuff with my dad had already been bad since the beginning of time, because he was head, and yeah, so wasn't talking to anyone. Literally was just by myself. And at that point, I was like, they're probably going to do that marriage, and I had a friend who I contacted who had been through a similar situation, so I contacted her to see what I could do to get out of the situation, because I needed to know if there was a way out, if it did happen, or if it was going to happen. So 4 months in, this was April. I asked my granny up front, I was like, am I getting married? And she said, like, she basically confirmed it for me. And I was like, what the hell? What the heck? Like, what is happening? And at this point, I was just, I kind of gave up. I had no hope left, because I was, like, it was a point where I'm just like, I give up. Like, this is too much for me. And I didn't know at the time whether I wanted to actually get out of it, or whether I just wanted to accept what was happening to me and just live with it for the rest of my life. Because I was just like, what's the point anymore, like, you know? After a lot of talking to people back in Ireland, I decided to contact the British Embassy, because we do not have a Bengali embassy over in Ireland that's connected. So I had to contact the British Embassy. And to my luck, they couldn't help me because I was under 18, and yeah, at that point I had just given up. I was like, yeah, there's no getting out of this, and I am absolutely screwed. And at that point, I just left it all. I just kind of gave up and was depressed, basically. Tried to myself a couple times. It was horrible, like, no one was talking to me, just me and my duck Tokyo, and it was just us chilling every day and just existing until about the middle of May, I think. And then we started talking about when my parents would actually be coming to Dhaka or Bangladesh, and we started planning something that we would, like, basically get me out of there by my birthday, or the day after my birthday, after I turned 18. So that was the plan, and thank God I had my friends. I had another friend in Dhaka that was much older than me, and he grew up there. So I asked him to help me, and he said yes. So shout out to you, Jobs. And obviously at this moment in time, I was obviously thinking about reputation and how this would affect my family, and how they would never speak to me ever again, which was a big thing, and it's probably a big thing for other girls who go through the same thing as I did. And obviously I cannot tell you guys what emotions I felt during this whole thing, as it was a very difficult period and I went through a lot of emotions, and it wasn't easy at all. I can't put that emotion into this video. I can't tell you what I felt, what I did, and how everything happened emotionally and mentally in my head, but it was very, very difficult. And I wouldn't want my worst enemy to go through what I went through. But as the day approached, the 18th of June, that was my birthday, I decided to call my dad after a long time. We didn't speak for a long time. And I wanted to talk to him and see if this was actually happening, to kind of ease my mind to telling me that I wasn't doing the wrong thing, and that I actually had to do something for myself and be selfish for once in my damn life. So on my birthday, I called him and I asked him up front if it was all going to happen when they got there. So this was the 18th, and they were due to come on the 26th of June. So I called him and he said yeah, and I spent that entire birthday crying my eyes out on how they could even think to do that, because his reasoning was that this person, well, my husband, would take care of me, which would fix my mental health and everything would be fine. And obviously I did not want to marry someone. I was not ready mentally or anything. I didn't want to marry someone I didn't know. So that's when I decided that I would be running away. At this point in time, I didn't think about what would happen to me after I got back to Ireland. So it's literally just like the escape, how I would like get away from that village in the middle of nowhere. So we all planned it, me, the embassy, and my friend Jobs. And obviously there was a lot of risks involved, but I didn't really think of them. I just wanted to get the hell out. And so we planned it that on the day of the morning of the 19th or the 20th, I'm not sure which day it was, even though I should know. I think it was the 19th, and that morning I would wake up early, be discreet about it. The embassy would be flying over from India to Bangladesh and meeting me in a spot that we had chosen together, and I would be meeting them there, and basically Jobs would be picking me up from a nearby town, because I had to get from the village to the town to the city where the embassy was waiting for me. So I met up with Jobs first. Obviously there was a lot of risks involved, but I took them all. I just wanted to get out. I did not have my passport, and I literally only had my phone and my charger in my bra, so that was it. And I just took off like that, and it all happened how we planned it to happen. They made me an emergency passport to get me out, fly me out, and after I got back to Ireland, like the whole flight, I was just thinking about what I just did, because the adrenaline was crazy and everything was just insane. It felt like a movie. Like, if I could make a movie, this would be that movie. And yeah, I got out and it was insane. And obviously I did not speak to my family for a long time after, and eventually we did get on good terms, but there's more stories to that for another day. And yeah, that is it. I probably should have told my story sooner, but obviously I wasn't healed enough to do that. And now that I am healed, I would want my story to be out so other girls that go through this have this and know that there is a way out. But yeah, my DMs are open, so DM me if you guys need me. And thank you for listening to my long ass story. I just realized how long it was, but yeah.